It isn't enough to just have the good intention to be a good person. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa, whoa, that thing just slid right off the thing. Is that straight? That's square-ish, kind of? I'm working, it's hard. I'm up in my office here, not in the treehouse, not on an ocean, not on a beach, not on an island or a mountain, but those will all be coming soon. And this is an impulsive moment here that I'm working on right now. Don't just assume that you know the answer to the problem without understanding the root. And truly, there's no shame in going, I just don't understand the root. Not in judgment, but want to learn. How can I better understand the root of your pain, the root of your problem? I've been in my office and I've been thinking, and when I have these thoughts, I typically write them down, as I mentioned in earlier, some of my Alive with Purpose. I go up to my treehouse and I just reflect and contemplate these things in my life. And with a lot of the energy, the tumultuous energy that's in the world right now, I'm really like, how can I be part of the solution and not the problem? How? And I've got a lot of learning to do and a lot of growing to do, and I'm always excited and curious to step into the unknown. But one of the things, as I've been listening to my own voice and reading, of course, from some Zen masters and teachers and mentors in my life, it occurs to me that having a good heart, having good intentions are not always enough. To be motivated by the desire to do good, to give good to somebody, sometimes falls short. It isn't always enough unless you have some form of understanding of what's happening to somebody else outside of yourself. You may think, well, the world's great. Why I don't understand. And quite often, I say this all the time. We create our own happiness, right? We are not going to be, or I certainly wouldn't subscribe anyone to be beholden to anybody else's opinions and feelings and thoughts about them and let that be their view of happiness. You create your own happiness. People will say awful things and cruel things, and of course in the news we'll hear disparaging comments and remarks, and quite often some hurtful things, but we don't have to let that impact how we feel about ourselves. However, if you reflect on it and it gives you an opportunity to go, okay, now I have a better understanding of an issue, of a problem. For example, the grave injustice that's happening in the world is at the forefront right now. It is on our plate. It is happening. We have to acknowledge it and have to address it. It doesn't do anybody any good to put our head in the sand and go, well, this is great because I'm on a beach in an island. Some of these things should be addressed within and around. But also, I think the key to this is listening and trying to understand, because often we'll go, okay, well, great, I want to help. What can I do? How can I be part of the solution? And we all just sort of say and do random things without fully understanding the root of the problem. And then we do it and it's clumsy, and you'll go, oh, I meant to do right, and that just came out wrong, and everybody's upset now, because quite often we just didn't have a clear understanding of the problem, of the pain, or of the suffering that's causing someone else. There's a Sanskrit word called karuna, interestingly enough, during the time of pandemic, and it means compassion. And compassion quite often is the ability to share in someone's suffering. So compassion means to share in someone's suffering, to understand what they're going through. But it isn't enough. For example, like if you go to a doctor and you don't expect her to go, oh, you know what, I'm going to share in your suffering. You'd sit there and go, that's it? So you have compassion for my suffering, but there's no healing? You don't have a remedy for that? We expect more, right? And I think we can do that with ourselves. It isn't just like, well, yeah, I understand, and I'm going to share in your pain and suffering. What can we do? What action can we take to help relieve the pain, to help relieve the suffering? That's what we expect from a physician or anybody else. So we can ask ourselves, well, how can I help? What can I do? And at the root of that is truly, and I brought this up before, and Alive with Purpose, is trying to understand the root cause, getting to the bottom of it. Because again, I'll use the doctor analogy. She's not going to be able to heal you if she doesn't understand the cause of the problem. She's just going to be able to share in your pain and your suffering, and nobody's healed, right? And the Corona has the capacity to acknowledge, become aware, and share, and transform that suffering, that pain, into something healing, something positive. And I think that's what I'm getting at here, is it isn't enough to just have the good intention to be a good person. Ask of ourselves and those who are suffering, how can I help? Help me understand. Don't just assume that you know the answer to the problem without understanding the root in anything, even your own. If you're trying to solve your own problems, you're like, I don't understand why does this make me crazy? Why do I get jealous or envious, or why does this bring me so much pain? You can't just wave a magic wand and hope that it's going to go away. You have to acknowledge the root, try to get in there and figure out, okay, what is the cause of this pain? It's no different than the pain in the world that's around you. Look, ask, try to understand the best you can. And truly, there's no shame in going, I just don't understand the root. Not in judgment, but want to learn. How can I better understand the root of your pain, the root of your problem? I want to be a part of the solution. I want to help heal. I think having good intention, the motivation to do good, is a great start. But create some form of action from that and see where it takes you. And I have a good feeling not only will the pain and suffering of someone you may know who's going through pain or injustice and racism and hatred and violence and all of these awful things that are happening in the world, what actions can I take to help heal? And I think we can also heal ourselves in many capacities when we acknowledge that and recognize that in others. Something magical will happen within us. And I think perhaps we could help heal some of our own pain. There's my little Alive with Purpose tidbit for today. I hope I made my point in trying to be part of the solution of anybody who is suffering from anything. And again, I try to remind ourselves, don't be a slave to the thoughts of other people. Don't let them control you, those thoughts. You can become aware, you can certainly hear them, but if you start to embrace the hatred that starts coming your way, be very cautious of letting that permeate your soul. Certainly if you're trying to do good in the world, if you've got cruel intentions, and it really revolves around what's your intention. That's where everything sort of starts. What truly is your intention? If it's misguided and hurtful, then I would caution not to go that direction. I'll just say that. I think you probably should try to understand somebody else's point of view. That's a place to start. Okay. There you go. I'm going to ramble some more, and I'm going to go back to meditating and back to writing and see what we come up with next in the next episode of Alive with Purpose. So much gratitude, much appreciation for everyone who's tuned in. And I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I hope they've inspired you to some degree in your personal lives. So I'm going way beyond my episode time for right now, but I think this is important in these times that we try to understand one another, because listening and understanding can easily become reverence and respect.